Good evening, cult members, and welcome to PopCultureCult. I'm Sean.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the Rebel Files, your one-stop shop for everything Star Wars. And this week, it's all about the Rise of Skywalker trailer. We do wild speculation, which we'll do a little bit of, some news and notes. But this week, what we're going to do was we're going to do the top 5 things that we think were important for the Rise of Skywalker that we got out of the trailer. To be honest, we attempted this last night and it didn't record because technology.
So remember, kids, what happens when you can't have the full version? You get the Cliff Notes version.
You get the Cliff Notes version. To be honest, it was an hour long and it was really good, if I might not say so myself. But I think if we do like 15, 20 minutes, I think it's easier to approach. So this will be the top 5 things that we think are important to understand and know or point out from the Rise of Skywalker trailer. And
All-star killer, no filler. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to throw that out there. That was it.
I see how you are. And we'll start. These are no particular order. We're just going to number them because it's just, people love lists. So number 1 is everything Palpatine. We got Palpatine in the first trailer from Celebration, and this one we get him doing a voiceover talking about I've waited a long time, and now you are all coming together for your demise. That was the line. Do we think this is for Kylo and Rey coming together, or do we think this is the Resistance coming together?
Yeah, I think I feel like it's the Resistance. I honestly personally feel like he's a puppet master. That's exactly what he is. He's a puppet master. He's been kind of conditioning this the whole entire time. He's talking about them. He's talking about the fact that they've actually managed to rally all the remnants of the galaxy kind of together, and now he's like, good, excellent. And, that's really kind of the thing about it. He wants Rey and Kylo together. So I don't think I don't think there's any issue with that. I think he absolutely wants them together, and it's about the Resistance as a whole.
I think it's the Resistance too, but we're going to do a deep dive into the Mortis arc probably next week or the week after, because there is a dagger that looks like it's in there when Kylo and Rey are together. It looks like it could be the Mortis, so he could be the father. But I do think it's the Resistance coming together, one final attempt to wipe out everybody who's against him. And so I find that very interesting. So we'll give. We also get a shot of Palpatine at the end. It's kind of over his shoulder. It could be him. It could not be him. This Force Center guys made a joke about him being Mecha Palpatine, but I feel like it's some kind of. His body is probably super frail. He's old and broken, so it's some kind of thing that's keeping him alive, or it's a clone.
Yeah, no, they've actually there's been like again, I know we touched on this, but there's been speculation, at least based off I think it was production sketches or whatever, that his body is frail. It's actually not a clone, as much as I think it would be cool. It's actually on like a mechanical arm, so it's something that's actually kind of helping him move where he's not in the throne, but it's allowing him a degree of mobility. I don't know if it's gonna be a walker. I mean, the Lego kit for Mecha Palpatine would be kind of fun.
That would be awesome. Okay, now I want to know it.
like on one hand, you're like Mecha Palpatine. On the other hand, I'm like, cheeseball cop out. Don't do that. But it's possible. I mean, he's done strange. Maul had like weird legs.
I was just gonna say. There's a track record of it happening. So so our number 2 awesome, most important thing, something you should probably pay attention to, is the Resistance fleet. Now, I know it's been all over the internet, and there's been multiple people who've done deep dives and showing all of the ships that are in there, including the Razor Crest from Mandalorian, the Colossus from Resistance, the Ghost from Rebels, all of that stuff. I had this thought today, though. We're all excited about seeing all these ships, but we all forget about seeing all the Imperial Star Destroyers in the last trailer.
Yep.
So of course you're going to have a giant array of different ships for the Resistance to go against that giant armada of the Imperial, of what's we are all thinking the new Imperial Starfleet.
Yeah, and that's it, really. And to some degree, like I'm not gonna lie, that shot in the trailer was absolutely the pants wetter for me. That was just
Yeah, yeah,
uber hero shot, everything else. The trick of that is I almost wish, kind of retrospect, because we didn't touch on this when we tried last night, and I almost kind of wish they wouldn't have shown
stop
it.
bringing up the past.
I know, I'm living in the past. I almost wish they wouldn't have shown it to some degree, and the only reason I say that is because when we
Yeah,
leave The Last Jedi and we leave that, it's really kind of a hopeless scenario. You don't know which way that's going. So I mean, yes, it's a hero's journey, so you kind of get the whole, yeah, they're going to come together. But yeah, this is the remnants of everybody. Like, they've sent feelers out to the entire galaxy. It's going to be a mishmash. It's a hodgepodge. It is the Resistance and the rebellion at its core,
right.
So we're going to see a little bit of everyone. The Mon Calamari. We're going to see people, and I, you know what? And we touched on this, and other people. I think a couple people have touched on it too. Is I really want to see Wedge come out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
I want to see Wedge Antilles come out of the woodwork.
yeah.
However that ends up being, Dennis Lawson, I think he's the missing component. I know that everyone's been kind of looking for him because there was a book cover that showed him on it that ties into Last Jedi. So there's like, some potential that he might actually be in it. And God, I hope that's the case.
The other kind of indicator for people, for Dennis Lawson specifically, is he was at Celebration this last year,
Yep.
and he doesn't do them. He doesn't. He's not
No.
into the Star Wars stuff. He did it as a job. It wasn't a thing, and he showed up till Celebration last year. So with that, the book cover, it would make sense that that Snap Wexley's unit, the freaking his little group that's gone. I cannot remember the name of his and not Alphabet Squadron. That's another one. It would be cool if he was going out and recruiting old pilots, and that's how we get him to come back and stuff. So God, I can't remember the.
Don't ask me to remember it either.
Yeah,
as much as I love watching you squirm, I don't remember it either.
I can't remember it.
We're diehard fans of Mr. Bones and everything else. We know that, Snap Wexley's piloting an A-wing in this one instead of an X-wing, but we can't remember the squadron name.
We can't remember the squadron name because there is a B-1 battle droid in the background. The number 3 thing that we think is important for us to remember out of this trailer is there's this overwhelming theme of togetherness. It is everyone is. You get the training montage with Rey in the beginning, but you get everybody. You get Finn, Poe, and Chewie together multiple times. You get the 3 of them and C-3PO and Rey in the pilot's chair on the pilot's deck. I'm having a hard time. Of the Millennium Falcon, you get that giant command meeting shot where everybody is together there. They even, Palpatine talks about togetherness. Poe talks about people will follow if you lead them. People will fight if we lead them. So there's just kind of this theme of bringing everybody together and being in one big last fight, which is a nice way to tie everything up. But it's also nice after The Last Jedi, where it was the 14 of them on the Millennium Falcon. With the togetherness, do you feel that we'll get some kind of celebration party like we did at the end of Return of the Jedi?
Okay, so
throwing them for a loop here.
No, I don't think so, and I kind of hope we don't. Because if you look at the Star Wars timeline as far as it goes, you always have the first 2 in the series of the movies. Everybody's off doing their own thing. The third in the trilogy comes for, everybody gets together. Same thing happened with the original trilogy. It happened with the prequels. You always have the big battle. It's just, again, we always have that overarching thing. Star Wars is a big cycle, but no, I actually don't. I think the party thing. I think it was cool with the Endor. I mean, I think it was cool to a degree. and some of the other stuff. But if you look at what was it? The Rise of the Sith or whatever, episode 3.
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Here's how to do it. Rise of the Sith. Whatever. Something.
Rise.
Force. But if you look at the end of that kind of ended on a somber note too. That ended up with the fleets and the Death Star and Tarkin and all that, kind of setting that tone. So no, I don't think there's going to be a party. I think this is the end of the saga. I think they're going to have a little more reverence than just kind of the intergalactic rave. That can happen. I mean, there's gonna be excitement obviously around it, but I think it's gonna end on a much more somber, looking towards the future, setting the tone for what's to come type of a thing. Or that could be the completely opposite. We're like, yay, everything's good in the galaxy, and just ascendancy.
Right. That would be awesome. Post-credit scene.
Right.
I can't let it go. We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger here. I can't let it go.
Yeah,
you said intergalactic party. Our fourth most important thing, or something that you should take out of this trailer, is the relationship between Kylo and Rey. Now, we're not specifically saying that it is Reylo. That particular story arc, I don't think makes sense for the way they have set things up in the past. However, Rey does talk about in this trailer about everybody thinks they know who I am and nobody does. And then Kylo comes out of the mist in the wet hair emo look, which is amazing, by the way, saying I do. And there's multiple shots throughout the trailer of the two of them either fighting with each other, fighting against each other, or at least having some kind of interaction with each other. The main shot that everybody's been kind of pointing out is the throne room from the second Death Star. Is there a possibility that the two of them are actually... Well, the way I keep looking at it is Kylo has always had this expectation of being the next chosen one, for the lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. From its important lineage and these two super important people in the galaxy, Rey, who had no parents, is thrust upon with this new knowledge and power, and now everybody's coming to her for leadership and guidance and everything, and she's still trying to figure out who she is. And so that's kind of attracting them to each other because they know how each other feel. Do we feel like this is a arc for Kylo's redemption, or do we feel that this is a lack of a better term, a coming of age story for the two of them?
I don't know if I like Star Wars by John Hughes.
Why not?
It's happened. I mean, there is a connection. I mean, the groundwork for that has been the connection. Whether it's been set up by Palpatine as part of, his first order, some semblance of something he developed during Operation Cinder and things of that nature. There's always a connection. I want to say Rey's a planned thing. I maybe not planned in terms of how he manipulated Shmi for Anakin, but he's got a role somewhere in there, whether it's Grandpappy Palpatine or whether he was aware of that convergence going to happen. Ergo, because she was going to come onto the playing field, he had manipulated Ben Solo and kind of puppet mastered him from the way back to be that balance. It's, there's always a good, there's always a light. And whether or not you call it a force dyad, whether or not we go back to the Mortis thing, which we're going to talk about. There is a bond there. Now, I do think shout out to the Resistance broadcast on that, because I think they had a funny little point on that. And for those who don't watch them, it was funny because she's like, nobody knows who I am. And that was like a little dig at the fans. Like, you guys have all this speculation,
That's a good point. Yeah.
You don't really know. And, Kylo comes out looking like he's about ready to murder again and is all like, but I do, Yeah, it's a little emo boyfriend. It's like, nobody knows you, but I do.
I do.
All kidding aside, it was a good scene. It's nice to see Kylo. It's nice to see Kylo being portrayed less whiny farm boy like his uncle,
Right, right.
and more that brooding leader now that he's had to kind of come to terms with that. So yeah, I do think there's a connection.
I do think there is obviously a connection between the two of them, and I've been saying for a long time that I didn't want the Bendemption. I didn't want that, but I think that there is actually a way to redeem Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Maybe not necessarily killing him off. I'd rather not have them kill him off. I'd rather have him be redeemed, but still have to pay for his actions.
Right.
And I feel that like one of the best ways to do that is to have multiple times in this getting ready for the Rise of Skywalker, they've shown Rey in a moment of anger or touching anger or fighting with herself. And if there's this chance that Palpatine can use that against her and get her to kind of start coming towards the dark side, and Rey sees that, and maybe not necessarily does a sacrifice play, but says, I've been down this and it doesn't work. It's up. You have to come back to the light, and he redeems himself by saving Rey from Palpatine. I think that's a great, and that way you have two Force users, both on either side of the coin, for lack of a better term. But the way they're putting this connection between the two of them, they've been saying all along, everybody's going to be together. We're going to go off on this big adventure together. But everything they showed in this trailer was them together. So I'm wondering if some point in time they realize they need to be on the same side to defeat Palpatine, which would be an interesting arc.
It's possible, and I think that arc is feasible because it's. I don't want to draw this comparison too much, but it's like pop Satanism. It's like ooh, I'm so evil. I'm the brooding teenager. I'm dark. And then you're kind of faced with true freaking evil. And that's staring you down in the face, and you realize, oh, this ain't so cool after all. Right. And you grow up. Now, I do think I don't think he's gonna survive. I really don't. And the only reason I think that is because he's too much of a Vader idol, and I think he's going to recognize that he's too far gone in the actions he's taken, that he recognizes that Vader was redeemed by his sacrifice in terms, and I think he's going to try to emulate that. So I think if he does die, it is going to be during something with Palpatine. It's going to be him becoming Vader and saving Rey. We're going to have that same connection to Jedi.
I don't know if I want that. I'm coming around to the idea of redeeming him. I really do like the concept of redeeming him. I just don't like him sacrificing himself to defeat Palpatine. We've seen that already. I want to see, like, maybe it's Rey pulls him towards the light, and they both are, how awesome of a shot would it be if in the middle of a fight, Rey pulls Ben into her, and his lightsaber turns from red to purple. Where it starts to come, it stops bleeding, or it turns white like Ahsoka's does. That kind of thing.
Yeah, they talk about that whole splitting of the light, the dark, and some of the mythos and stuff. Yeah. And it's like you almost want them to be a way for the good parts of him to actually survive, because if you go forward and you start taking the precepts of the past and everything, it would be kind of cool at the end of the day to see something happen where the arc forgives him for his actions. He's free to be redeemed, and him and Rey actually go off and form the new whatever it's going to be, if it's going to be anything.
The new Force Academy, and we get a Hogwarts kind of, Force Academy kind of thing. That would
because they would be the two left in the galaxy who have it and can.
No, Jason Syndulla's out there. He's in the coast. Our fifth and probably most important thing that you should take from this trailer is the straight emotion that we are left with this trailer. I watched a couple different trailer reactions today. A few of them were montages of other trailer reactions, and people were emotionally moved in this trailer. And it was for two main things. The first one was C3PO saying he's taking one last look at his friends, while Babu Frick was working on him. We have a whole theory that we'll probably go deep dive in on that at some point in time, what they're doing with C3PO. But the emotion of having a legacy character say, taking one last look at my friends, brings out emotions in everyone. And if you don't get emotional with C3PO saying that, then you're dead inside. I'm sorry.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
Did that get you? The thumbnail for our trailer reaction is me with my hands on my face and my hands, actually. And it was because of that particular line that really grabbed me. And then they crushed me with Leia's line at the end. Did it grab you as emotionally as it did for me?
Yeah, let's eliminate the fact that the first time we looked at the trailer, nobody notices Ori Bliss off to the side there because she blended in with the background.
She blended in with the background. That's where
she blended with the background.
That's when the Felix Alexander shows up too, is in that scene.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. It's because it's emotional on multiple levels. It's emotional because, and we could go into it, but we'll go into it in the theory. The reasons why he's saying goodbye. It gets emotional because the scene, looks at R2 and Chewbacca and Kenny Baker and Peter Mayhew, they all passed. It works on the fact that, dude, this is 3PO, man. He's been there since the beginning. Yeah. And anytime you have somebody selfishly knowing that they're going to be, this isn't like a Ben Solo thing. This is like a benevolent character with no malice going goodbye. Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
The comic relief droid, who's been there for comic relief the entire time, is the one that gives us the most emotion in the last trailer for the movie that is going to end the saga that we've all come to love over the last 40 years. Yeah. That's what got me the most. It's the character that was built to give the one-lines, to kind of be the surrogate for the audience by pointing out some of the ridiculousness sometimes. Mm-hmm. That's what really got me. It's just like,
it is
the funny guy. Whenever Robin Williams did a serious role, the funny guy doing a serious role always got me. I always pulled the emotion out of me when that happened. The other emotional scene that we got was the very last shot, and it is. Are you throwing stuff around over there? It is
obelisk.
It's the shot with Rey. The previous shot is Rey standing by herself with what we think is Mecha Palpatine. The final shot is Rey standing in attention, ready to strike with the blue lightsaber, the Skywalker lightsaber lit. And Luke says, "May the Force be with you." And then Leia says, "Always." And the trailer came out on Monday. That was would have been Carrie Fisher's 63rd birthday. She gets the last word in the last trailer. They're going to play on this. Play is not the right word. They're going to touch on these emotional points that we know. We've lost Han. We've mostly lost Luke. We've lost Carrie. So, by default, we lose Leia. And the way it was supposed to go was, it was Han's movie, it was Luke's movie, it was Leia's movie. And this was supposed to be Leia's movie. And so that Leia gets the final line in the trailer really touches me. And to add with the C3PO stuff, and just our new heroes out, having fun and crushing it and all that stuff and dealing with the emotion. So of all the things, was there anything else that was like super emotionally touching to you? Maybe even the Leia stuff?
No, the Leia stuff for me is definitely emotional, and having them say goodbye. People have been breaking that final scene down to no end of heck. We know Carrie's only got so much footage that they're going to be using her in. There are some people who think that she's not going to die in this, and I'll be frank, if they send her out terribly, I'm going to be mad. I don't necessarily think her death has to be on screen. I don't think that. I
No.
think if I was going to do it, and with the limited, script writing that I have, if I was going to do it, I would have some event that's going on while our heroes are off on their heroism. I think
Right.
some event would go on that takes her. That takes
Right.
her life. It's not. This isn't the Star Bridge where she can, force pull herself back onto it. Like something just eradicates her. A planet blows up. Like you're not coming back from that.
Right.
And they find out about it, and I think they're off doing something. And then, like Obi-Wan gets hit, they feel the effect of the Force. It hits them.
Right.
They
Right.
know something's wrong. And like that final scene, the way I've always kind of visioned it in my head is, yeah, she's sitting there with the lightsaber, but I don't necessarily. It doesn't look violent. It looks like she's smiling yet crying all at the same time. And I really, honestly have this thing in my head that Luke and Leia appear to her as Force ghosts, and that's the first time she sees Leia since the event happened.
Right.
And that's that because it is kind of a crying yet joy, yet I'm about to go into this, and I now have the blessing. Go with what you have. I think that's like a
Yeah.
final word from the twins.
I'm okay with some version of that. One of the things I've thought about is, as much as I don't want the Vader, beating Palpatine, so that's how we're gonna do it with Kylo beating Palpatine. As much as I don't want that, I would like and wouldn't be opposed to a shot of Rey standing there in a moment of euphoria, or however you want to look at it, and Leia walking away and fading into a Force ghost with Luke and Anakin standing there greeting her, and Rey is watching the whole thing, and that passing of the torch and having that whole process there, even having Obi-Wan there because he was overlooking Luke and overlooking Leia, so that concept of even if that's the last shot of the movie, I think that I don't know if I want that to be the last shot. I would be okay if it's the last shot. It's gonna wreck me. They've already killed off Iron Man this year for me, so I mean, might as well just go and pull my heart out the rest of the way. But I agree that there will. I feel like there's going to be some kind of. As much as I like the idea of the generals, like she's a general. I'm going to take a squadron and we're going to go over here and be the distraction for the fleet, for the Imperial fleet, while the Resistance fleet comes in. And then in that, she loses her life. They've already done that with Akbar, where Akbar died off screen. And there was an outrage of them killing Akbar off screen. If they killed Leia off screen, there would be no coming back for Star Wars for any.
So what if we flip that a little bit? What if Ben's redemption is saving Leia, or at least doing something to where she can pass into the Force, that he's giving up his Force essence to do it? I think that would be a cool redemption.
That would be a cool redemption.
He killed Dad. Might as well freaking help Mom. I
still think it's Han who lights the lightsaber, knowing that Ben is gone. Like there's that outside of my
that whole theory that he's doing it to infiltrate the First Order.
No. Not theory. The theory that he knows he can't help his son anymore, so he grabs the lightsaber and turns it on himself.
Right, maybe that sacrifice would emotionally compromise his son, and
right. So he takes it on his own to give Ben a chance to come back instead of having Ben do it. It's always been I know it's not possible, but that's what I'm going for.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, I'm so weird about that but there's credence for it. I mean, it's that whole "Will you help me?"
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I can see it. I can see Han being like, "This is done. I'm over. I owe everybody in the galaxy. Might as well just do it."
Yeah. Yeah. I was an absentee father. Let me at least be here for you now.
Right.
That's my thought. So that is the 5 most important things that we felt came out of this trailer. There's a ton of detail in this trailer. New Rockstars did a really good breakdown of the trailer. Star Wars Explained did a really good one.
Yep.
You were talking about the Resistance podcast did a really good one. Force Center did one, and everybody breaks it down a little bit differently. They're all looking at it from different angles, just like we are. So we would encourage you to go out and find all of that information too. But these were the 5 things that, even with our talk last night, were always the glaring things to us.
Yep.
And so, like we said, we're going to do deep dives into what C-3PO could actually be doing, the sacrifice play or not, the Mortis arc. We could probably spend 3 hours on the whole Bendemption thing, although we kind of did that a little bit tonight. Hey, it's a major story arc because it's happened in the past, so might as well happen in the future. So let us know in the comments what other thing that you felt was important that came out of this trailer. Let us know also if you think Ben is redeemable and if that is the Mortis dagger. Let us know in the comments.
Remember, kids, this is the last thing we're getting. Talk about it. We're not going to see Boost, like maybe a couple TV spots until...
We may get an international trailer. I'm not holding my breath because I think that will be just edited differently. I don't think we'll get anything new out of that. And the TV spots, maybe not. So let us know in the comments your theories and thoughts about Rise of Skywalker. Also, like this video, subscribe to the channel, help us out on Patreon. We're working towards a Star Wars goal there. We're also on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. All of the information for our channel and all of our extended stuff is in the description down below. And until next time, I'm one with the Force.
And the Force is with us. Take care.